Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
This literally means I'm doing a video, a complete video. It's a complete video. Now what do we have to say about that? Yeah. Alright. So an update. It's still in progress. The last time I even talked about comparing to the Knopods. Whoa, why did some deodorant just land on my camera? Because that's exactly what just happened. I'm recording at about almost 6 p.m. Is that right? No, where I'm at, it's almost 6:20. And I can tell it's almost 6:20, but I don't know. I mean, last time I checked it was 5:17, 5:18, 5:19, 5:20. At the time of this recording, it's unlikely I'm going to be reviewing an iPod Touch 5th generation within the next week, within the next few days. It's probably going to be, if I do end up getting one, it'll probably be like next Friday or something. I don't know. Or maybe the next Friday. I don't know. I'm going to have to take complete, measures. Because I got to, when I do this comparison, I'm going to need cases for these. For when I get the second iPod, if I get it. It's going to be a 5th generation, and like the 4th generation, I can withstand a bit of deodorant in my mouth. I guess, but okay. Like the 4th generation, all of these sizes have voiceover. It was just the 3rd generation with the 32 and 64 gigabyte only had voiceover. Now, you can get a very cheap tablet, like the RCA Voyager 3 tablet, plastic back, a glass screen, from what I can tell. Nothing. It's got 3 buttons on the bottom. Power, volume up, and volume down. There's a camera on the back, and then there's a microphone about an inch from the bottom, if you feel, on the back. From the an inch and a half from the bottom, there's a microphone. I almost said microwave. Microwave on the back, like the Apple logo. There's the RCA logo. It says RCA on the back. Much like the Apple logo on the iPad, there's a RCA logo on the G-Pad, which is they call it a G-Pad. I heard that they call it a G-Pad. I don't know. They called it a G-Pad for the Android, like for Samsung Galaxy tablets, they call them G-Pads. Those are a bit expensive. But, this right here, what I'm holding, is a under $50 tablet. It's a low-budget tablet. You can get it if you have the money. You can get it. They're the cheapest tablets out there. Just like there are cheap smartphones, there are cheap tablets, there are cheap watches. Heck, TechSmart was a YouTuber that I watched about maybe a year or two ago. He unboxed and reviewed a $7 smartwatch that was like a. It wasn't based on any like. It didn't have a platform. It wasn't platform based. Like what I mean by platform is, what I mean by platform, it wasn't Android or iOS based. It was just a watch that connected to your phone. Android or iOS platforms could support the watch. It wasn't. It didn't have any screen readers. It didn't have a screen reader, as far as I know. It didn't, because it was like $7. But I didn't get a smartwatch for $7. An Apple Watch, you can get like. You can get like 10 of these of the Voyager 3 for the price of an Apple Watch. That's pretty much it. That's how cheap these are. I'm not selling mine. But, like I said, on the back, that's the RCA logo. Logo. Yeah. Why do I keep saying logo? It's logo. Logo. The RCA logo. The Apple logo. RCA logo. Whatever. You know what I wish? Apple is somewhat partnering with Android, I would say, because they're letting Android users buy their get their Apple Music app. See? So, yeah, they are having Android TVs, like, they are going to have Siri as one of their quote-unquote virtual assistants or voice assistants. There are a few of them that I know of. Cortana, Bixby, Siri, Alexa, Google. See, there's 5 assistants right there. Good thing every time my Alexa died. I do have one, but it's not on. Because, number one, I don't really use Amazon Alexa. This tablet, I got this myself out of my own money, I think. Like, I literally just got this myself. I bought it. Didn't get it from any special place where they have assistive technology. No, I got it myself. Fresh out of the box. You have to sign into your Google account. And you have to have sighted assistants. Because there's no home button to turn on TalkBack. And is TalkBack a pain? Oh, you should see when I first started using it. You should have seen it because, I customized it a bit, but I must have done it too well because now when I tap the side of the device, it brings up the global context menu for TalkBack. And then when you double tap the side, it's not on, but when you double tap the side, it's the local context menu. So yeah, the one thing that really amazes me and interests me is old technology. Like old computers, for instance. Old iPods. I actually have an old iPod that I used to have before getting the iPod Touch 4th generation. But that iPod, I kind of did a little bit of a review on it. But I don't even think Android does their own music player. I think Apple is the best at that. Because now they're coming out with a 7th generation iPod Touch. You didn't hear me right? Excuse me for a moment. 7th generation iPod Touch. Alright, you heard me that time. I bet you did. I mean, maybe... okay, maybe you heard me like... twice? Oh no. I'm scared to actually pick up my own iPod Touch. But let's try it. Well, it's very comfortable. Very comfortable. I'm not going to put it back. I think I still have that iPod laying around. The other one. It's just, you know, I don't use it. It's not very useful to me. Except just to look at music and stuff like that. But the iPod Touch 4th generation, I mainly use that for music and for playing games. There's not really much you can do on an old iPod, is there? Yeah, I thought so. So anyways, yeah. Wait, I'm doing a video!
Sorry.
So yeah, I do have that iPhone 5 here, but let me tell you, it's got a few cracks on it. Whoa, I cracked it. Still usable. Yeah, you just gotta get it fixed. So we gotta get that thing fixed. Come on. I cannot believe I didn't find that iPod. Well, it's an item. It was cool while it lasted, of course. Alright, so, does anyone like it? Does anyone like my videos? I don't know. I'm not gonna expose my information, my personal. I was always joking about that. And seriously, an iPod Touch today would cost like $300. $200 or $300. Imagine that. $200 or $300, brand new. iPod Touch 4th generation back then cost like $199, $200. And nowadays they're just not with nothing. Because of their old, they're like old quality. They're like almost 10 years old. They're like almost 10-year-old iPods. I mean, I'm glad I got it, but the only other thing is that, you know, you got to think about, is this really worth it? Is it really what everyone wants? I mean, come on. I mean, that iPod Touch was practically perfect. No scratches, no nothing. There was a sticker on the back, but I did remove it. I removed the sticker. The freaking sticker. I removed it, okay? If you're the owner of the iPod watching, boo! I just removed the sticker. I just removed the sticker. Fixed it. Anyways, I cannot believe that You know, one thing, I think I actually did see the first iPad. I think I did see the first iPad. Not too different from the second, or third, or fourth. You know, it stopped with the main iPad series, and then went on to like the iPad Mini back in 2012. And get this, I believe that the iPad Mini was like it was one of the iPad Mini, the first edition, was the only one of its kind to have a 30-pin dock connector. So the last iOS device to have the 30-pin dock connector of all time, I believe, was the iPad Mini first generation. If you don't know, an iPad Mini is a bit smaller than an iPad regular. It's about 7 inches, about the size of that tablet that I was holding, but about by like maybe 5 or 6 inches wide. Seven by 5. So think of the tablet that I was holding, but add a little bit more of a width to it. Five or 6 maybe. Not that big. Well, maybe 5 by 7. It's about maybe 5 by 7. Not that big. Not that difficult. I'm just, scared of dropping devices with the screen facing down. That's one of the things I don't like. Is dropping a device with the screen facing down, because I've heard that back in the 90s that, cell phones were hard to break, or unbreakable, for that matter. If they made smartphones that were unbreakable with a screen reader on it, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But as we probably all know, that old cell phones from either 2007 or older don't work unless you have a SIM card that was on a 2G network, because that was the iPhone first, excuse me, the iPhone 2G was the last of its kind to run on a 2G network, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think that it is one of the last of its kind to have ran on a 2G network. Now, if anyone else knows about the last phone that ran on a 2G network, let me know. Because I would like to know, what was the newest smartphone that didn't work? If it's the iPhone 3GS and the iPhone 4S, because the iPhone 5 works on the current, because it's a bit newer. In 11, 12, I think it was like 11. Or maybe 12, I think, I don't know. 12. The iPhone 6 was 2014, I think. Then the iPhone 5 was either 2012, 2013. I think it was 2012. But still, Then the last phone that, the newest phone that doesn't work, because I believe AT&T was the only network, or the only phone company or whatever, the only way that people could call on their iPhone back in 2007, and I'm glad that I wasn't one of them. Because number one, VoiceOver wasn't even on the iPhone, period, until the iPhone 3GS. And it's the first phone to have VoiceOver, the first iPhone to have VoiceOver. The first iPod to have VoiceOver was the iPod Touch 3rd generation. The first iPad to have VoiceOver was, you can guess it from there. But if you don't know, the iPad 1st generation, or just simply the original iPad. The first computer, Apple computer, or the Mac, the first Mac to have VoiceOver, I don't know that. Probably, I don't know. I would just know iPhone, iPad, iPod. Well, actually, I take that back. First iPod to actually have, to utilize VoiceOver, was the iPod Nano. And that was like 2008 or 9. iPod Nano, iPod Shuffle, one of the best iOS devices at the time of 2009 or 10 was the iPhone 3GS for blind people. But, you know, people that had an iPhone, blind people that had iPhones back in 2009, had to deal with a 2 megapixel camera, I think. They had to deal with no Siri, they had to deal with they had to deal with voice control, which it's kind of cool if you think about it, but I don't know. The first iOS device to have Siri, I think everyone knows that the iPhone 4S was the first iOS device, period. Excuse me. The iPhone 4S was the first iOS device to have Siri, period. No other way. The iPod Touch 5th generation came after. The iPad 2nd generation was the first iPad to have Siri. Don't quote me on that, but again, don't quote me on that. But I believe it's true. The Mac has Siri on it, but not until like 2015 or 2016, I believe. There's no Android equivalent voice assistant for, like, in the way of Siri. There's no Siri equivalent to Android. I just found that out. But, you know, like, S-Voice was a voice assistant with Samsung, hence the name S-Voice. I believe that was called just Samsung Voice. But, you know, if I think about it, the virtual assistant world has, you know, changed And I first heard of Siri back in 2013. You know? I actually first heard of Siri back in 2013. Because I heard someone say, Siri, tell me a joke. Or something. Because I liked Siri from the start when I first used an iPhone for the first time. My personal iPhone. I believe it was the 6th, I believe. But, you know, for a while, I just had to use the default voice, which was...
Speaking, hints, language.
Hang on.
English US.
What's this one?
Hints, volume, speaking, words. Camera chooser, speaking, stop record, camera chooser, back, button, stop recording, button, speech off.
That's the voice I had to use for a while. In fact, that was one of the worst voices I've ever heard. And especially on the iPod Touch 4th generation, it was worse. Come on. I could show you, but I think you've seen it on a couple of my videos. But if you want, I can show you again. I'm gonna have to open... Okay. I don't really trust myself holding devices like that. The iPod Touch 4th generation is very thin. And get this, it's running the same software update as the iPhone 3GS. And get this, the iPod Touch 4th generation and the the speaker scratched or something.
Slack.
But you have to wait.
FaceTime. Double tap to open. Mail. Mail. Page 1 of 2. Settings.
Okay, I'm gonna go to voiceover. And it's
Settings.
really far
Sounds.
down.
Button. Do not disturb. Notification. Do not. Bluetooth. Do not disturb. Do not disturb. Notifications. Button. Do not disturb. Notifications. Do not Bluetooth. Wi-Fi. Sounds. General. Button.
General. Button.
General. General. About. Software update. Use it. VP. I do. Spotlight. Auto lock. Passcode. Restriction. Date and time. Keyboard. International. Accessibility. Button. Reset. Button.
Just like on Android devices, accessibility is almost at the bottom as of the time of this iPod's release
Accessibility. Button.
of the setting of general.
Accessibility. General. Access. Vision. Vision. Heading. Voiceover. On. Button. Voiceover. Double tap. Swipe. Voiceover. Speaking. Typing feed. Use pitch change. Use braille. Button.
Get this, you only had two different voices. You use compact voice on or off. That's all.
Use compact voice. Off. On.
This is what I mean by worse than the current.
Speech on.
So, this is the current.
Camera chooser, back
Facing. Back. Button. Camera. Stop recording. Button. Speech off.
Now listen to the worst version of this voice.
Use pitch change. On. Use phonetics. On. Typing feedback. Button. Speaking rate. 40%. Adjust speaking rate. Heading. Speak hints. On. Double
Heading.
tap to toggle setting.
I mean, just listen to that. That is messed up. Whoever had to deal with that, you've got to be kidding me. You only had two different voices on this thing, and yet the Apple Watch only has one voice, and that's,
speech on.
if you haven't guessed it so far, it's this.
Camera chooser, stop.
Recording. Button. Speech off.
Samantha Default. I mean, I have no shame against this, but, Apple, back in the day when you had two voices for voiceover, you could have at least added another voice. And now I understand that the processing chip in this thing, like, it's not as, this iPod is not as powerful as maybe the fifth generation. But heck, even the fifth generation, I think, had these voices. And then once it got on to like iOS 7 or later, there was like more voices. Well, I don't know. Like, let me know in the comments if these two voices, the compact voice and the enhanced voice, were the only ones on iOS 7, because they weren't on iOS 8. So I think it's safe to say that I think that more voices started coming on iOS 7.
Speaking rate. Speaking rate. Typing. Use phonetic. Use pitch. Use compact. Braille. Use compact voice. On. Off. Braille. Button. Use compact voice. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
Even the Samantha enhanced voice is terrible.
Use pitch change. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
Although some of the way that some of the words are said by this voice are sometimes the same.
Use compact voice. Off. Double tap to toggle setting.
So I'm gonna press home.
Settings. Double tap to open.
The way it says double tap to open, that's not how it says it now. It says double tap to open, or something like that. Compared to double tap to open, or something.
Pick settings. Double tap to open.
It doesn't even say dock,
Pick messages.
like on the
Double tap
iPod.
to open.
When you get to the messages, Safari, Mail, and whatever,
Mail. Safari. Music.
and music,
Double tap to open.
it doesn't say dock. I mean, it's the dock,
Safari.
but I guess they didn't
Double
call
tap to
it
open.
that.
Mail. Messages. Page 1 of 2. Adjustable.
So
Swipe up or
doing
down one
the
finger to
app
adjust the
switcher,
value.
you still do the you still press the home button twice, as in
switcher.
current
Settings.
iOS versions.
Double tap to open.
But here's the catch.
Dismiss app settings. Double
You
tap
see
to open.
how people nowadays, when they're blind, when they have voiceover, you just swipe up with 3 fingers to close each app. I mean, you swipe up with 3 fingers to close each app. Well, back then in iOS 6, in iOS 6, you would
Safari. Settings. Double tap to open.
double tap and hold on an app,
Editing apps.
and then once it says editing apps, you
Safari.
keep double tapping
Pocket.
until all
Smash.
the apps are deleted.
YouTube. Messenger.
I have YouTube on this thing, but
Weather.
it doesn't really work.
Messages. App Store. Facebook. 3 new. Tap it. Mail. 25 new. App switcher has no item. Dismiss app switcher.
I had a
Double
lot of
tap to dismiss
apps.
the app switcher.
So anyways, yeah.
Double tap to open.
Even the slide to unlock feature.
Screen locked. 601.
On older iOS versions, the iOS devices like didn't say PM or like AM or PM. They just said 601 or heck, it's 601 already? Man, I've been recording on this thing for like over 45 minutes probably.
Screen locked. 601. Slide to unlock.
The slide to unlock
Slide or double
feature
tap.
doesn't even exist anymore. It just says press home to unlock on current
Screen
iOS
locked.
devices.
602. Slide, take picture, button. 602. Slide to power off.
Now let's put this back in the drawer. And what should we do? Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? That's pretty much the end of my video. I'm sorry I took a real long time out of your time. But still. I just like talking about technology now. It just seems appropriate. Because Bop It doesn't mean that much to me as it used to. I mean, I pick up a Bop It, like, I pick up a Bop It and start playing it sometimes, but I don't do it on camera. I did do it because of me doing the Android device thing, but I didn't do it because, like, I didn't do it. I did it because of the Android device. I did, however, like, you know, just doing the Bop It thing, you know. I just did it because I had the tablet, and I just wanted to do that. So that's pretty much the end of my video. I'm sorry it took about maybe well, man, about 45 minutes out of your time. I'm very sorry, but I will let you know if there is some news on whether I'm getting the iPod Touch 5th generation for sure or not. But if I am, it's going to be a 32 gig. Just letting you know. Goodbye.